Hello everyone, welcome to Let's Crack UPSC CSE English. In our today's session, we'll continue with our crash course for Prelims 2021. So in our Inspire series, we are covering Polity section. Now friends, we'll learn about Panchayati Raj. So already we have covered various provisions of Panchayati Raj like evolution of this system, then constitutionalization, various committees, and 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act and PESA Act. Now, we'll continue with the remaining provisions in today's session. Most probably will cover up this Panchayati Raj topic in today's session. Yes. Before going to start today's session, it's my pleasure to welcome you all on Unacademy, India's largest learning platform, where you will get unlimited access for live and recorded classes along with structured courses. Those aspirants are pursuing their graduation. You can go with our iconic subscription. Yes, what is meant by iconic subscription? So friends, in iconic subscription, you will get all the features of our plus courses along with additional features like personal guidance, study planner, study material, expert guidelines, and test analysis. So all these additional features included in iconic subscription. Those aspirants are also planning to prepare for civil services after their 12th examination. They can opt for our iconic subscription. It's me, Rushikesh Inamdar, guiding UPSC aspirants from last 8 years. You can follow me on Unacademy and you can join our Telegram group using this link. Yes. Friends, we are providing loan facility for all aspirants. Yes, Unacademy is providing loan facility. So those aspirants are not able to continue their preparation due to financial constraints. We will help you. So just use this link and we will help you to provide you loan for UPSC subscription. These are the paid courses available on our platform plus and iconic subscription. And friends, these are the subscription combo available on our platform where you will get 10% discount after using referral code RBI Live. Yes, here is the option to go with 1 year, 2 year and 3 year subscription. These are the combo subscription for general studies and optional subject. We are going to start new batches from 5th May. So you can join these batches, and also we are providing free test series and Unacademy Combat to all aspirants. So you can use referral code RBI Live while enrolling yourself for Unacademy Combat. Just use code RBI Live to unlock the combat. So friends, Panchayati Raj, which means rural local self-government, and this system was constitutionalized through 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act of 1972. So local government, which is mentioned in the state list under the 7th schedule of the Constitution. Now friends, will start with the finances of Panchayati Raj. Yes, Ramkumar in today's session will continue with the Panchayati Raj system. So the second administrative reforms, Commission of India 2005 to 9, which has summarized the sources of revenue of the Panchayati Raj institutions and their financial problems in following ways. Yes, second Administrative Reform Commission report is talked about these financial problems. So a major portion of part 9 of the Constitution, which deals with structural empowerment of the Panchayati Raj institutions. But the real strength in terms of both autonomy and efficiency of these institutions is dependent on their financial position, which includes their capacity to generate own resources. And in general, panchayats in our country which receive funds in the various ways. So now think, friends, any organization if we are talking about which conducting their business with the financial support. So as we know, Panchayati Raj is also a system which works for the development of grassroots level. So obviously there is need for the finances. So second Administrative Reforms Commission 2005 to 9, which summarize the sources of revenue of the Panchayati Raj institutions. Now, so in general, panchayats in our country receives funds like grants from the union government based on recommendations of the Central Finance Commission as Article 280 of the Constitution. Yes, so there are grants from the union government to the panchayats to conduct their businesses. Then, devolution from the state government based on recommendation of the State Finance Commission as per Article 243(1). Yes, there are grants from the union government and then devolution from the state government based on recommendation of the State Finance Commission. Then loans and grants from the state government, program specific allocation under centrally sponsored schemes, and additional central assistance. Then internal resource generation, that is tax and non-tax. So these are the ways to raise funds or revenue to the panchayats. So across the country, states have not given adequate attention to fiscal empowerment of the panchayats, and the panchayats' own resources are major. Like Kerala, Karnataka, and Tamil Nadu are states which are considered to be progressive in Panchayati Raj institutions empowerment, but even there, the panchayats are heavily dependent on government grants. So one can draw the following broad conclusions. Like internal resource generation at the panchayat level is weak. So there is partly due to a thin tax domain and partly due to panchayat own reluctance in collective revenue. Panchayats are heavily dependent on grants from unions and state governments. A major portion of the grants, both from union as well as state governments, is scheme specific, and panchayats have limited discretion and flexibility in incurring expenditure. Yes, so in view of their own tight fiscal position, state governments not keen to devolve funds to panchayats. And in most of the critical 11 scheduled matters like prime education, healthcare, water supply, sanitization, and irrigation. Now it is the state government which is direct responsible for implementation of these programs and the expenditure. So overall, a situation has been created where panchayats has responsibility but grossly inadequate resources. So where panchayats have responsibility but grossly inadequate resources. Though in absolute terms, the quantum of funds the union state governments transfer to a panchayat and forms the major component of its receipts. The Panchayati Raj institutions' own resource generation is the soul behind its financial standing. It is not only a question of resources, it is the existence of a local taxation system which ensures people's involvement in the affairs of an elected body. It also makes the institution accountable to its citizens. Yes, then in terms of own resource collection, the Gram Panchayats are compiled fees and non-tax revenue for generating internal resources. So at the Gram Panchayat level, they have a tax domain for their own, while in Panchayat Samiti and Zila Parishad, these are dependent on tolls, fees and non-tax revenue for generating internal resources. State Panchayati Raj Acts have given most of the taxation powers to village. Yes, State Panchayati Raj Act have given most of the taxation powers to to village panchayats, and the revenue domain of the intermediate and district panchayats, both tax as well as non-tax, has been kept much smaller and remains confined to secondary areas like ferry services, markets, water and conservancy services, registration of vehicles, cess on stamp duty and few others. So here, State Panchayati Raj Act given most of the taxation power to the village panchayats, and that's we have discussed in last point also. Intermediary, that is Panchayat Samiti and Zila Parishad, they dependent on other taxes like tax as well as non-tax, which is confined to a secondary areas like ferry services, markets, water and conservancy services, registration of vehicles, cess on stamp duty, and few others. So, a study of various state legislations which indicates that a number of taxes, duties, tolls, and fees come under the jurisdiction of village panchayats, and these inter alia include octroi, property house tax, profession tax, land tax or sales, taxes, tolls on vehicles, entertainment tax and fees, license fees, tax on non-agricultural land, fee on registration of cattle, sanitization, drainage, conservancy tax, water rate or water tax, lightning rate tax, education sales, and tax on fairs and festivals. So now these are the finance systems or finances of Panchayati Raj. So these are the various sources to collect tax for their internal purpose. Now after that we'll see reasons for ineffective performance. So even after conferring the constitutional status and protection through the 73rd Amendment Act 1992, the performance of the Panchayati Raj institutions has not been satisfactory or not up to the expected level. So the various reasons for this suboptimal performance like, so Ministry of Panchayati Raj Government of India stated in roadmap for the Panchayati Raj. So there are various concerns with this suboptimal performance of the Panchayati Raj institutions. Like lack of adequate devolution. First is lack of adequate devolution. So many states have not taken adequate steps to devolve three F's, which means functions, funds, functionaries. So many states have not taken adequate steps to functions, funds, and functionaries to the Panchayati Raj institutions to enable them to discharge their constitutionally stipulated function. Further, it is imperative that Panchayati Raj institutions have resources to match the responsibilities entrusted to them. While SFCs, State Finance Commissions, have submitted their recommendations, not many few states have implemented this or taken steps to ensure the fiscal viability of the Panchayati Raj institutions. So it's a lack of adequate devolution. Then, second, excessive control by bureaucracy. So in some states, the Gram Panchayats have been placed in a position of subordination. Hence, the Gram Panchayat Sarpanch have to spend extraordinary amount of time visiting block offices for funds and or technical approval. And these interactions with the block staff office distort the role of Sarpanch as elected representatives. Then, tight nature of funds. So, this has two implications. The activities stated that under the certain scheme are not always appropriate for all parts of the district, and this results in unsuitable activities being promoted or an underspend of the funds. Fourth, overwhelming dependency on government funding. So a review of money received and own source funds shows the overwhelming dependence of panchayats on government funding. When panchayats do not raise resources and receive funds from outside, people are less likely to request social audit. Reluctance to use fiscal powers. Reluctance to use fiscal powers. An important power due to Gram Panchayat is the right to levy tax on property, tax on business, markets, fairs, and also for services provided like street lighting or public toilets, etc. Very few panchayats use their fiscal power to levy and collect taxes. The argument pushed by panchayat heads is that it is difficult to levy tax on your own constituency, especially when you live in the community. So, reluctance to use fiscal power. So, an important power devolved to Gram Panchayat is the right to levy tax on property, businesses, market fairs, and also services provided like street lighting or public toilets, etc. So, very few panchayats use their fiscal powers to levy and collect taxes. And the argument pushed by Panchayat heads is that it is difficult to levy tax on your own constituency, especially when you live in the community. So there are restrictions in, we can say, on Gram Panchayat heads to collect the taxes in the community. The next reason is status of the Gram Sabha. So empowering the Gram Sabhas could have been a powerful weapon for transparency, accountability, and for involvement. So involvement of marginalized sections. So as we have discussed many times, the importance of Gram Sabha in Gram Panchayats. So status of the Gram Panchayat is also matters, which empowering the Gram Sabhas could have been a powerful weapon for transparency, accountability, and for involvement of the marginalized sections. And however, number of state acts have not spared the powers of Gram Sabhas, and nor have procedures been laid down for the functioning of these bodies or penalties for the officials. Then, creation of parallel bodies. So often, parallel bodies are created for supposedly speedy implementation and greater accountability. So, however, there is little evidence to show that such parallel bodies have avoided the evils, including that of partisan politics, sharing of spoils, corruption, and elite capture. So, missions, in particular, often bypassing mainstream programs, create disconnect, duality, and alienation between the existing and the new structures and functions. Parallel bodies usurp the legitimate space of Panchayati Raj institutions and demoralize the Panchayati Raj institutions by virtue of their superior resource endowments. And after that, poor infrastructure. So large number of Gram Panchayats in the country do not have even full-time secretary. Around 25% of Gram Panchayats do not have basic office buildings. The database for planning, monitoring, etc. are lacking in most of the cases. So a large number of elected representatives of Panchayati Raj institutes are semi-literate or literate and know little about their roles and responsibilities, programs, procedures, systems. So often for want of good, relevant and periodic training, they are not able to perform their functions properly. So although all the district and intermediate panchayats are connected with computers, only around 20% Gram Panchayats reported to be having computing facility, and in some states, village panchayats do not have any computing facility. So, as we know, the central government or various state governments are already started various schemes to improve the infrastructure of the Panchayati Raj institutions and basically Gram Panchayats. So friends, as we know, if we are talking about the grassroots level development, which starts with the Gram Panchayat, Panchayat Samiti and Zila Parishad. So when grassroots level is looking for any developmental projects, they approach to the Gram Panchayats. So in this context, the well developed infrastructure will help to resolve various issues like planning, monitoring of various projects is role of the Gram Panchayat, and in infrastructure which includes human resources as well, like full-time secretary. All members should take part in the proceedings of Gram Panchayat. So all these reasons for ineffective performance like lack of adequate devolution, excessive control by bureaucracy, tight nature of funds, reluctance to use of fiscal powers, status of the Gram Panchayat, creation of parallel bodies, and poor infrastructure. Now, friends, we'll see. After this theoretical data, we'll see the name of the Panchayati Raj institution in the states, like this report of the 13th Finance Commission 2010 to 50, and this report till or this status till 2019. So, friends, we'll see one by one name of Panchayati Raj institutions in the states, that is Panchayati Raj institutions state wise. Now, first, Andhra Pradesh. In Andhra Pradesh, the Panchayati institutions or Panchayati Raj institutions, it's like Gram Panchayats, Mandal Panchayats, and Zila Parishads. Then Arunachal Pradesh, at the village level, it's a Gram Panchayat, block level, Achal Samitis, and at the district level, Zila Parishad. In Assam, structure is like Gaon Panchayats, Anchalik Panchayats at block level, and Zila Parishad at district level. Then Bihar, village panchayats at the village level, Panchayat Samitis at the block level, and Zila Parishad at the district level. Then Chhattisgarh, the structure like Gram Panchayats at the village level, Janpat Panchayats at the block level, and Zila Parishad at the district level. In Goa, there is two-tier structure like village panchayats and at the village level, and directly Zila Panchayat at the district level. In Gujarat, three-tier system like village panchayats, taluka panchayats, and district panchayats. Haryana, gram panchayats, panchayat samitis, Zila Parishads. Himachal Pradesh, gram panchayats, panchayat samitis, Zila panchayats. In Jharkhand, the structure is like gram panchayats at the village level, panchayat samitis at the block level, and the Zila panchayats at the district level. Then Karnataka, we have structure like gram panchayats, taluka panchayats, and Zila panchayats. In Kerala, in Madhya Pradesh, we have structure like village. In Punjab, gram panchayat, panchayat samitis, and Zila parishads. In Rajasthan, gram panchayats, panchayat samitis, and Zila parishads. In Sikkim, we have gram panchayats, Zilla Panchayats, that is two-tier system. In Tamil Nadu, we have village panchayats, panchayat unions, and district panchayats. In Telangana, we have gram panchayats, mandal parishad, and zila parishads. In Tripura, we have gram panchayats, panchayat samitis, and zila panchayats. In Uttar Pradesh, we have gram panchayats, kshetra panchayats, and zila panchayats. In Uttarakhand, we have gram panchayats, intermediate panchayats, and district panchayats. In West Bengal, we have gram panchayats, panchayat samiti, and zila parishads. Now we'll see the milestones in the evolution of Panchayati Raj institutions, like towards first generation panchayats. So, in 1948-49, the Constituent Assembly debates on the role of Panchayati Raj in Indian polity. In 1950, the Constitution of India comes into force on 26 January. Directive principles of state policy mention village panchayats as a units of self-government under Article 40. Yes. Then in 1952, community development program starts on 2nd October throughout the country. Yes. In 1952, community development programs starts all over India on 2nd October. Then in 1957, Balwant Mehta committee appointed and they submitted their reports in 1957. So we have covered the all provisions and recommendations by the Balwant Mehta committee in this session itself. (1958 to 60), several state governments enact new Panchayat Acts, bringing in three-tier Panchayat system, that is at village level, block level, and district level, Gram Panchayat, Panchayat Samiti, and Zila Parishads. In 1959, friends, next milestone in the evolution of Panchayati Raj institutions, like Jawaharlal Nehru inaugurates the first generation Panchayat at Nagaur in Rajasthan on 2nd October 1959. Then Kerala District Council Bill is introduced in Kerala Assembly. And after that, lapses after Assembly is dissolved. So, the first generation Panchayat at Nagaur in Rajasthan was inaugurated by Jawaharlal Nehru in 1959. Then, after that, in 1964 to 77, decline of first generation of Panchayati Raj institutions in the country. But if we are talking about growth and decline of second generation Panchayats, then in 1978, Panchayat elections are held in West Bengal on party basis on 4th June 1978, marking the beginning of second generation of Panchayati Raj system in our country. In Ashok Mehta committee, which is working on panchayats, appointed on 12th September 1977 and submit its report on 21st August 1978. So we have covered the recommendations by Ashok Mehta committee on Panchayati Raj institutions. Then in 1983, Karnataka government enacted new Panchayati Raj Act. In 1984, Hanumanta Rao Committee on District Level Planning, appointed by Planning Commission in September 1982, submit its report in May. Yes, Hanumanta Rao Committee on District Level Planning. We have covered few highlights of this report. Then 1985, Karnataka Panchayati Raj Act receives President's assent in July and comes into force on 14th August. Yes, GVK Rao Committee on Administrative Aspects of Rural Development, appointed by Planning Commission, and they submit their report. So I hope, friends, you have fair idea about GVK Rao Committee's recommendations, which we have covered. In 1986, Andhra Pradesh follows West Bengal and Karnataka Panchayati Raj model. In 1987, Karnataka holds Panchayat elections in January. 1990 to 92, Panchayats are dissolved and brought under administrator in Karnataka. These are the milestones in the evolution of Panchayati Raj from 1948 onwards. Then, constitutionalization of Panchayati Raj. So in 1986, LM Singhvi Committee submits its report on 27 November, which recommends constitutional status for Panchayats. In 1988, Consultative Committee of Parliament, which appoints a subcommittee under chairmanship of P.K. Thangon to consider constitutional amendment. In 1989, 64th Constitutional Amendment Bill is introduced in Parliament on 15th May and is defeated in Rajya Sabha on 15th October. Again, 74th Constitutional Amendment Bill is introduced in Parliament on 7th September, but this bill lapsed on dissolution of Lok Sabha. After that, the 72nd Panchayats and 73rd Amendment Bills introduced in Parliament referred to the Parliament Joint Select Committee in September, and in 1992 Lok Sabha passes both the bills and Rajya Sabha passes them on 23rd December itself. So in 1993, 73rd Amendment Act 1992 comes into force on 24th April and 74th Amendment Act 1992 comes into force on 1st June. Then after that, next milestone in 1993-94, all state governments pass conformity acts between 30 May 1993 and 23rd April 1994. Then Madhya Pradesh holds Panchayat election under the 73rd Amendment dispensation on 30th May. After that, in 1996, the provisions of the Panchayats, that is Extension to Scheduled Areas Act 1996, that is PESA, which extending 73rd Amendment Act to Scheduled Areas comes into force on 24 December. Kerala launches People's Plan campaign on 16th August. In 2001, Bihar holds Panchayat elections after 23 years. And in 2001, 83rd Constitutional Amendment Act 2000 amends Article 243M to dispense with reservation for scheduled caste in Arunachal Pradesh, which paving way to Panchayat elections in the only state yet to hold them under new dispensation. So these are the changes or the milestones from 1948 to 2001 related to the Panchayati Raj institutions. Then constitutionalization of Panchayati Raj we have covered. Now we'll see the committees related to Panchayati Raj after constitutionalization. So first committee, that is task force on devolution of powers and functions to PRI's Panchayati Raj institutions, chaired by Lalit Mathur. The committee appointed in 2001, they submitted their report in 2001 itself. Then second, expert group on planning at the grassroots levels, committee headed by V. Ramchandran, appointed in 2005, and they submitted their report in 2006. After that, task force for preparation of manual for district planning, which is chaired under Srimati Rajwant Sandhu, appointed in the committee appointed in 2008. They submitted their report in 2008 itself. Then committee on restructuring of district rural development agency under the chairmanship of V. Ramchandran, appointed in 2010, submitted their report in 2012. Then expert committee on leveraging panchayats for efficient delivery of public goods and services under the chairmanship of Manishankar Iyer, appointed in 2012, submitted their report in 2013. So these are the committees related to Panchayati Raj after constitutionalization. Then articles related to panchayats. Now Article 243, which is definitions about panchayats mentioned in Article 243. Article 243A, which talks about Gram Sabha. Article 243B talks about Constitution of Panchayats. Article 243C, composition of panchayats. Article 243D, reservation of seats. Article 243E, duration of panchayats, and so on. Article 243F, disqualification for membership. Article 243G, powers, authority and responsibilities of panchayats. Article 243H, powers to impose taxes and funds of the panchayats. Article 243I, Constitution of Finance Commission to review financial position. Article 243J, audit of accounts of panchayats. Article 243K, elections to the panchayats. Article 243L, application to union territories. Article 243M talks about part not to apply to certain areas. Article 243N, continuance of existence laws and panchayats. Article 243O, bar to interference by courts in electoral matters. So these are the articles related to Panchayati Raj institutions from 243 to subclause O. So friends, in the series of Panchayati Raj institutions, we have covered complete information related to Panchayat Raj system in various parts And today we have covered finances of commission, then reasons for ineffective performance and their reasons, like lack of adequate devolution, excessive control by bureaucracy, tight nature of funds, overwhelming dependency on government funding, reluctance to use fiscal powers, status of the Gram Sabha, creation of parallel bodies, poor infrastructure. Then we have covered the Panchayati Raj system in all states and their tiers. Yes, we have covered 25 states. Then milestones in the evolution of Panchayati Raj we have covered, like various steps towards the like first generation Panchayat, then second generation Panchayats, constitutionalization of Panchayati Raj, then committees related to Panchayati Raj, and then articles related to Panchayats. So it's all about the Panchayati Raj. So friends, this is important topic in context with prelims and mains. So definitely we will cover current relevance or topic to the Panchayati Raj in our Inspire series itself. So friends, that's it for today's session. See you in the next lecture with new topic of polity. Till the time, keep studying, keep revising. Stay home, stay safe, take care. Thank you. And friends, do not forget to keep in mind countdown for the prelims. Those aspirants are planning to appear this year. Do not forget to start your test series with Unacademy. We are providing absolutely free test series for all aspirants. So see you in the next lecture. Till that time, keep revising. Take care. Thank you.